Welcome to the SDA Housing Podcast, brought to you by NDIS Property Australia. Before starting this episode, we need to provide a general disclaimer. Information contained in this podcast is general in nature only. It does not take into account the objectives, financial situation, or needs of any particular person. You need to consider your financial situation and needs before making any decisions based on the information in this podcast. And you should consider seeking independent and professional advice for your personal circumstances. All right, let's begin.
Hello everybody, my name is Min and I'm your co-host with Debbie from NDIS Property Australia, and you listen to the SDA Housing Podcast. The show explains, highlights, guides and brings awareness about all things SDA in this ever-changing NDIS world. Debbie, how are you?
Hello Min, I'm doing well, thanks.
So is a depressing type of topic. It's covering in a news article in the Financial Review today. Today is the... what's the date today, Debbie?
8th of July.
8th of July. And the article in the Review says, investors hung out to dry as NDIS housing schemes fail. Now, before I go to this article, Debbie, do you remember last year, a year and a half ago, I think, Rob Maxwell and myself, we covered an article in the Review about this exact topic. The spruikers selling real estate in SDA, DOMACOM, a platform working with stockbrokers. Do you remember that article, Debbie, that we did?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah. Well, this one is a follow-up to that actual Fin Review article. But anyway, me and Rob, we covered all the topics of how, investing via a third party, being a so-called platform or funds management kind of scheme, syndicate, as a pooled investor via these stockbrokers. It's just the fees is tremendously high. And myself, I also signed up as a subscriber to this company, AFR Wealth, a wealth management business in Sydney. And for the not last 6 months, but for a year, I was getting bombarded every single week from their email marketing on their webinar every once a week on this awesome thing called SDA Property Investments. And now today's article, investors hung out to dry as the NDIS housing scheme fails, is an exact follow-up to that big capital raise from DOMACOM, an online platform working with ASR Wealth. And I'm calling them out because this is public news now. Back then, I didn't really call out the names of these organizations, but now it is. And Debbie, would you like to read some of these first few paragraphs of this article today, please?
Yeah. Retirees and other retail investors pitched double-digit government-backed returns to be National Disability Insurance Scheme landlords are set to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars, with the fund manager admitting it cannot find tenants. Investors in at least 14 schemes face the prospect that the funds in which they invested will be wound up after months-long searches to find high care patients who qualify for government-subsidised rents under the NDIS failed. The scheme was marketed by ASR Wealth and overseen by DOMACOM, an ASX-listed investment platform chaired by former Liberal leader John Hewson. DOMACOM allows investors to pool money into a single property by purchasing units in a managed fund. Dominic, keep going?
Sure can go.
As you would be aware, we have had difficulty in finding tenants for the underlying property, DOMACOM Chief Operating Officer Ross Laidlaw said in an email to investors in a fund tied to a house in Copplebank, a suburb on the far western fringes of Melbourne. Other emails to investors obtained by the Australian Financial Review warn that funds attached to 14 properties in that suburb alone could be liquidated, and others under threat include those linked to houses in Beveridge, a town north of Melbourne. There is no assurance that there will be suitable tenants available in the future, as there appears to be an oversupply of NDIS properties in this area of Melbourne, the emails warn. DOMACOM manages about $200 million in more than 100 funds. The company's chief executive, Stephen James, confirmed 14 properties under review will most likely be sold, and approval has been given by the trustee to do so. It is too early to make any further assumptions on the outcomes and who the prospective buyers may be, although every possible option is being explored to ensure the best returns for investors. Some of the potential buyers may be other government departments, other NDIS housing providers or private purchasers. So that's the first section of this report, which does continue to go on for a while. But yeah, basically they're saying to their investors, failure, we have obviously screwed up with this investment and these particular investment schemes have failed.
Now, Debbie, did I hear you say correctly? 14 in Cobblebank?
Yep, you did.
Cobblebank is near Beveridge, is it?
No, Cobblebank is in the west. I'm not sure exactly what it's near, but that would be in the either the Melbourne, Bacchus Marsh or Wyndham sort of regions.
That's pretty surprising to see them put all their eggs in one basket, meaning all their eggs in one suburb.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, Debbie, I was talking to you the other day about another fund manager with 14 in Melton. Hang on. Debbie, can I ask you a question? The 14 properties in Melton that are all empty that we talked about, is it related to these 14?
I don't know. Cobblebank, I'm actually going to just Google that while we're talking here. And
hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold tight.
Yeah, I can't even find Cobblebank.
Is Cobblebank near?
Maybe that's the name of the estate.
Well, just Google Cobblebank.
Yeah, this is interesting, isn't it?
Because we were on to some hot gossip in the last week and a half or so of a fund manager with 14 empty properties in the so-called Melton area.
Here we go. Found it. Yeah, Cobblebank is Melton.
Ah, there we go. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Wow.
Okay, so yeah, it's probably the same one that we have been talking about.
Okay, so we now know who's... Okay, surprise, surprise. Because I think the exact words were, get us the F out of here. We don't want to be involved in SDA anymore. So, I don't... There's no need for us to keep on reading more of this article.
No.
If you want to read the article, just go to the Fin Review and read it yourself, okay? All good there. But anyway, the point is this. Cobblebank, Melton, okay. A year and a half ago, we said to you, our listeners, be very careful when working with a third-party so-called expert. And these were stockbrokers, mind you. Funds management stockbrokers who were pushing out the whole SDA story. Great story, by the way. And look at it. At the end of the day, it was actually empty. And they failed. And Debbie, you and I spoke. I told you about Rob Maxwell, a friend of ours. Him and Rob, his colleague, they have a client who's a robust participant, I think. Was it IL? Was it robust? Robust participant funding. And I asked Rob to talk to the support coordinator, and he rang the support coordinator, and then she told him that there are no houses out there in Melbourne. It all takes 12 months to build. And we're like, what?
Yeah, big what? There are so many houses that we are now seeing that, and this is in the west of Melbourne, that support coordinator was looking, was it not, Min?
Well, we're all confused as to why.
Wherever it was. The point is we are seeing a massive amount of empty houses for not only high physical support, but also robust out there. So what's going on?
The support coordinators are unaware. I mean, I spoke to Rob about this last week. He said to him, how come the SIL providers and the support coordinators don't know about this? Don't they know about this thing called Housing Hub or in SDA Finder?
Or Nest?
Go Nest? Is it Go Nest or Nest?
It's Nest, but the website's Go Nest.
Okay. Like they are not, do they know where to go to find these?
It would appear not.
I don't know.
Yeah. So this just highlights what we've been saying for a long time now. There is such a disconnect between the builders and the developers and the investors, the people developing the SDA properties, and the people looking after the potential tenants for the properties who've got the clients. They don't seem to know how to connect with each other.
Remember the stats, Debbie? 24,000 SDA funded.
Yep. And
only 9,000 living in SDA.
Yeah.
That's still 24,000 minus 9,000. That's still 15,000 funded, not living in SDA.
Yeah. Well, they're not living in new build. They're living in old style that are officially part of the SDA scheme, but they're not new build SDA.
So they're stuck in limbo in an older,
unsuitable, not fit for purpose group home.
and they haven't moved to the new ones because I'm gonna throw some silly comments here. Number one, they can't find the new properties. Number two, they don't know what housing hub is. Number three, the care providers that do not want to lose them to another provider who is working in SDA housing. Four, there is no connection between SDA providers and super providers out there.
And I would also like to say five is there is a lack of understanding of what SDA is amongst a lot of people working in the NDIS industry, which still surprises me, but it's there. It's still a fact.
A lot of super provider carers and support workers don't understand SDA, what's involved, qualification process. And I don't know when that disconnect will fix itself up, Debbie. It's really sad to see that there are so many people out there with empty houses as owners, and there are so many people out there who are participants who cannot get out of where they are to move into an actual brand new fit for purpose SDA home.
There are so many amazing, beautiful homes out there, and they're just sitting empty, and someone is living in a horrible situation in some group home, sharing with 4, 5, 6 others when they could be in a beautiful design, brand new home with their own space, their own backyard. But it is the carers, the support coordinators who just don't seem to have enough understanding of what it is and how it works and how to help their clients make that move.
Mm. So the purpose of this podcast is really the article from the Fin Review today, but it's a quite detailed discussion article here, and we encourage you all to download the article and paid subscription, or buy the article from the news agency, AFR Review today, and read it in full detail, because it just shows the systemic failure of organisations who do not understand the process of, the SDA process. Now, Debbie, we held a webinar last week on the SDA process, and if you want to go watch it, it's on YouTube and Vimeo. Is that right, Debbie?
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. So Debbie and I spoke about it. It was a good presentation. People love their content, and it just shows how complicated investing in SDA is. And I guess people thought these investors who went through DOMACOM via ASR Wealth would have thought, well, hang on, we're going in smaller amounts via a wealth management business, and also via a platform called DOMACOM, who's an online platform for capital raising. That must be simple, and that must be, safer, surely, right? Surely, Debbie. AFR license holding business and an online legit business for capital raising. Surely that should work.
Yeah. Oh, and they've said here that it's government backed, so therefore it's safe.
Yeah. But as we keep on saying to the whole audience on our website, on our podcast, on our YouTube video webinars, data, desirability. But the biggest thing is data. The data can be wrong if the timing is wrong. I mean, in theory, right now, town or suburb ABC could be the perfect timed moment to invest in SDA. But land titles, construction, delivery, time to market, that all takes time.
Yeah.
And that 1 year period or 1.5 year period will affect or impact the success of an investment in SDA. Now, look, how do I say this? Now that I know the full story of this article behind our knowledge, Melton/Cobblebank, first of all, why would a fund invest in 14 houses in one suburb, right, for ESA participants and get zero? But maybe I reckon there will be 14 times 3. 3 as in OOA plus 3 participant bedrooms. Well, that's my guess here, right? That's 3 times 14 is 72. Is that right? No.
28.
52.
Yeah, 28, 56.
56. 3 times 14.
You're asking me at the end of a long day to do this math in my head.
What is it? 14 times 3?
42.
42. 42, at least, probably maximum 42 SDA bedrooms. Between 36 and 42. That's my comment. And they got zero. That's zero filled up. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Something seriously has gone wrong there.
I don't know how long ago these properties were sold and went under construction, but
A year and a half ago.
okay, so that was before the demand projections came out from the NDIA, which could potentially have encouraged maybe some people looking at this to build in those areas, because the long-term prospects of NDIS numbers and SDA-funded participant numbers in the west of Melbourne are astronomical. The numbers are going to increase hugely, but we're talking about in 20 years' time. They're not there now. So I don't know why so much development was done in the whole of the Melbourne West area when there's still very little development, very little infrastructure. It's going in, yes, but it's not there yet. And it's just way, way, way oversupplied. So, yeah, it's baffling. Well, on one hand, it is that an organisation like this and DOMACOM have done I would assume, would have done some due diligence to vet this investment offering, but maybe they were swayed by promises from the builders, and I don't know.
They put all the eggs in one basket, and
that's a very surprising mistake
for a bunch of wealth managers who believe in diversification, risk management, right? And again, why would you go to a stockbroker to take real estate advice? Again, why would you go to a plumber for a carpenter's advice? Why would you go to a mechanic for the electrician advice? It is just wrong. I mean, I called it out a year and a half ago. It's wrong, right? And I feel sorry for all the people who lose money for it. They'll lose a quarter of their money.
Well, yeah, I mean, if those properties are sold to the regular market.
And you know why I know this, everybody, when you listen to this podcast? I already know what this for sale price is from the listing agent. He told me about this 2 weeks ago. And only now, this very moment, as we do this podcast, reading the article, did I realise, holy hell, now I know.
This is who the owner is.
This is who the owner is. Yes. Okay, so listing price, probably 20% loss. Expect a 20% loss on your dollar for those investors who went into this. Okay. This is my prediction. Yeah, it's my prediction. Fees and charges and everything else. But anyway. So, Debbie, this is an example of buyer beware, you know.
Yeah, totally.
The road, you know, as an old man once told me, the road to hell is littered with good promises, right? With decent promises. And here we are, people in the white-collar world of financial funds management, raising capital to invest in an ideal concept being real estate for disability, disabled people, participants, it's turned out to be a major, major loss. And the fund manager is absolutely, shouldn't have been into it to begin with. I know that they will come back into it again, that's for sure. But still, I feel sorry for them, and I hope that, this is going to have a stain on the industry, Debbie, having 14 empty houses in that location. Because if that's that there, where else is there another 14 or 10 or 5 more? Because the institutions, Debbie, and you don't know this, they all do their strategies on an Excel spreadsheet.
But they don't understand that this is about people's lives, and this is about people with disability, and that is such an important consideration here. So again, the 3 Ds, desirability, data, and design.
Only work with people who talk disability. Don't get disability advice from a stockbroker. Don't get disability advice from a fund manager, right? Don't, and we keep on saying this all the time, do not throw caution out the window. What's the Lord saying? Throw caution in the wind? Is that
yeah.
Just because you're chasing returns. Like, this is about people's lives who have nowhere to live.
This is not just a property investment. This is a disability business. And that is such a major part of it.
And if you don't understand that or not appreciate its importance in someone's or a bunch of participants' lives living in a home together, then maybe you shouldn't invest in this. If you can't cope with risk and losses, maybe you shouldn't invest in this. If you don't understand disability, maybe you shouldn't invest in this. SDA is a very, very complex world or sector of the industry complex world. And if you're listening to this episode now, you've probably listened to a lot already, and you've been on our journey of learnings on SDA, and we thank you for your support. but it's not for the faint-hearted. Every day we're hearing more and more problems come out of the world in NDIS investment markets. People who regret investing in SDA. And we're doing our best to give enough knowledge, warning, and experience that we come across to you, our listeners, to say, hey, take it easy, go slow, don't rush it, and always ask the questions, because if you go to our SDA process chart that was presented on our webinar last week, which is now on YouTube and Vimeo, you'll appreciate the complex nature of doing what's correct in getting your success right in SDA. Debbie, any final words of advice from this article, from our review of this article, and also, in general about the overall topic of, using third parties for advice here?
Buyer beware, do your research. And we say this constantly and can't state it enough. You've really got to speak to the right people, do your own due diligence and research so you understand what you're getting into here.
Cool. Thank you so much, Debbie. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you are subscribed and following us so you can keep in the loop with all of our upcoming episodes. We would really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating, a written review, and to share this podcast with those that could benefit. Until next time, catch you on the next episode.